Hello everyone, this is YLAM here. I hope you're doing well. But in today's video, I'm going to be talking about a subject that's probably the most important subject that I've ever talked about on this channel. And it's something that I've been waffling back and forth on because I didn't know whether or not I should address it. Should I just ignore it, or should I just be upfront and just bring it right out? I really didn't know. And for any of you who don't know, I am Chinese, but I identify as a Hong Konger because I grew up in Hong Kong. I actually still remember a lot of Cantonese that I had in my childhood. 我識講少少嘢，但我冇用好多，因為我喺美國咁樣，我唔使用啦。It's amazing what your mind can actually remember because I probably haven't used it in almost 30 years. It's just something that I've learned as a childhood, but when you do need it, it seems like you could really just pick it right back up. But anyways, I do identify myself as a Hong Konger, and I've been watching the news very closely, and it's something that, what's going on there is very tragic, and I didn't really know how to address that. Plus, on top of that, you hear Trump talk about these, things that's going on in China. And, when you first hear it, you kind of sit back and you says, no, that can't be right. And what do? You go do your own research. And honestly, you don't even have to dig very far to realize that these bad things have been happening for a while now. And a lot of people have been trying to report on it, but it just fell on deaf ears like me because we're all busy. We're all trying to do our own things. But once you learn them, you can't put the cat back into the bag. And that's the problem that I've been having for the last couple of weeks, because once you know these things, you realize that you probably need to make a change. And the big change that I'm talking about here is, should we continue to buy product from China? Because we know the communist regime there is really not good for anybody, because at this point there's just enough information where it's easy to make that decision. And the horrible thing about this is that, if the world stopped buying Chinese products, the people that are going to get hurt the most are the common Chinese people, which are totally innocent from this. But unfortunately, they're the ones that are going to get the most hurt first, and they're the ones that are going to have to suffer the most before things will change. And that's really tragic, which is really unfortunate, but that's kind of where we are with this channel. The reason why I bring this up is because I like to talk about Fuji Gear. This is a Fuji channel, and I try to share with you my thoughts because I really wanted to grow this channel. I really wanted to share my thoughts with you and help improve the community, help improve the product. And I feel like creating a channel is the best way to do it. Nowadays, there's so much noise on the forums or, the Facebook groups and stuff like that, that you really can't get a message across. You really need to build your own content channel to be able to get your own message across. And that's kind of what I was doing with this channel. It's the reason why I don't really report on any of the other brands, because I want to keep the comments clean. I want there to be a sense of community, and I really largely don't want to push gear. And I think you've noticed that with the type of videos that I've been putting out. I really don't try to do a lot of gear reviews because I'm really not here to sell you gear. I've already said that on Fuji Fridays before, but it's getting to the point where I think I need to make an even bigger change from this, which is not really talking about any gear at all that's made in China. And that's because if I buy the gear, that's bad. It goes against the line in the sand that I've drawn for myself. But if I continue to talk about gear that's made in China, get people enthusiastic about buying it, that's really not any better. And that's the problem. That's the conundrum that I've been trying to deal with, because I can try to ignore it and just say it's not my problem, but morally speaking, I don't think that's the right thing to do. And it's taken a long time for me to actually reach that point. I actually was listening to a podcast about morality, in which kind of everything just clicked together, in which sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and just do the right thing. And the reason why I say this is because it takes a lot of effort to put together a YouTube channel, to get it to run successfully. And anytime you make a big change like this, saying that, hey, I'm not going to talk about gear anymore, it pretty much kills 60 to 70% of the content that I usually talk about on this channel, which means I either let the channel die or move it in a different direction, which is the same thing as burning a YouTube channel to the ground. Because if you know anything about creating YouTube channels, when you move in a different direction, YouTube, the algorithm itself, punishes you because it knows you for this. And when you try to change, it doesn't know you for that. So your videos immediately go down in rankings, and also your community probably might not be interested in the new content that you create, which is totally understandable. But this is kind of where we're at with this channel, in which I really don't want to talk a lot about gear. I've been thinking about this, and I was like, you know, if I post these videos, I'm really just saying I'm in favor for these cameras that are being built in China, which I don't really want them to be built in China. I don't want to support the communist regime there. So it became a problem for me. So I still have not posted those videos, and I am not going to post those videos. Most likely I'm just going to delete them and just forget about them because they're not the right message that I want to send. So I know a lot of you come to this channel because it's a Fuji channel. And for many of you, you're probably not going to be interested in topics like this because a lot of people come to YouTube to be entertained, to get away from life, and they don't want to hear about these topics. But I encourage you to go out and actually do your own fact-finding and research, and just morally think about the decisions you make for your purchasing power, because I think it is really important right now. Here on YouTube, there's a real big thriving community for selling gear. But I think morally speaking, people need to be aware of this stuff, and they need to make sure that, you know, where their line in the sand for morality is drawn up and whether or not they think this is crossing the line. For me, it is. It's crossed the line. I can't do it anymore. So I'm going to change up my YouTube channel because I have to, because if I don't talk about gear from Fuji Films, there's really not a whole lot of content to create, which means like Fuji Fridays is something that I'm probably going to rename, because like if I talk about this type of stuff, it's really not fair to, you know, Fuji Films and Fuji to talk about these things, because like, you know, their business, they make good decisions in terms of trying to be viable as a company, but we're at this point where we're learning these things that really made it to where it wasn't a good decision to invest this much into China, because the communist regime really isn't good for the world and they're making horrible decisions, and it's something that I don't think anybody should support. So I'm gonna do a lot of changes, and a lot of you might not be interested, and if you aren't, that's perfectly fine. Definitely unsubscribe. Definitely go find a place, you know, in the YouTube community that you fit in, that you enjoy, that you like. I wish nothing but the best for you, because, you know, this is just a trying time. And for all of my subscribers on YouTube, I definitely want your time on YouTube to be enjoyable, to view things that you want to view. And if that isn't on this channel, then there's definitely other communities on YouTube that will probably fit your needs. This is the only topic that I want to talk about for this week. If you're still watching, thank you so much. I don't know if you're going to be back next Friday, and honestly with you, I don't really know what I'm going to present next Friday, but I'll figure it out. Hopefully you're there. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you're safe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.